Another welcome to Prime Sports with me, Razak Musbao. Now, the Ghana Premier League Week 2 is coming off this weekend, and one game has already gone by, and it's Bafokeng Tano who defeated their counterpart there. 2-1 that game ended. But here are the fixtures. So that was the game between Bafokeng Tano and Real Tamale United, which ended 2-1 in favor of Bafokeng Tano, the Sunyani Coronation Park. Then later tomorrow, Gold Stars will play Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Then Heart of Oak on Sunday will host Nsonchaman. Bechim United will then play Dreams FC. Diana will play Midiama. Big Game and Karela United Brekum Chelsea will lock horns. Now, Heart of Lions and Great Olympics will also be in action. Likewise, Nations FC and Summertex FC. Then Accra Lions and Legon Cities will also be in action. Now, ahead of that game between Accra Heart of Oak and Nsonchaman, the head coach of Heart of Oak, Martin Koopman, says he's ready to get his team to make amends against the Nsonchaman at Accra Sports Stadium. Meanwhile, head coach for Kumasi Asante Kotoko, Prosper Nata Ogum, also says he's ready to make changes to ensure his team gets the win against VPN Gold Star. Now, let's do some preview to these games, especially Kumasi Asante Kotoko. They'll be looking for their first win since the start of the season at the Barra Sports Stadium last week, Sunday. They were held to a 0-0 draw. It was a controversial draw against Heart of Lions there, but Prosper Ogum will be looking to pick maximum points against VPN Gold Stars. Fifi Manfred joins me via Zoom from all the way in Kumasi for some preview to the Ghana Premier League this weekend. Fifi, thank you so much for making time. Let's start off from Prosper Nata Ogum, though. Are you perceiving any pressure on him already ahead of match week 2, especially after failing to pick any point against Kwando Heart of Lions on Sunday?
Well, I don't know if you can hear me now.
Yeah, Fifi.
I'm as well.
Yeah, good. I'm asking, what's the mood like in Kumasi ahead of the game against VPN Gold Stars? Because we know last week, Sunday, Prosper Ogum failed to pick the maximum point. Is there pressure mounting on him already in Kumasi?
Well, the line is a little bit faint, but then the first game against here at the Barbara Stadium wasn't a good one for Kotoko. Kotoko wanted to win that game. It was a game that he went in strongly to try and get the all-important 3 points to set off the conversation here in Kumasi. But then it was a good showing from the boys. If you listen to Coach Nati Prosper Ogum in the post-match analysis, he did mention that his boys were good enough. They played some good football. That's exactly what he wanted to see from them. He also did mention that whilst he felt that they didn't have that telepathy and then cohesion that they needed, it's still something that he feels that with time they were going to be able to build. I mean, generally gauging the thoughts of a lot of Kumasi and Kotoko folks here in Kumasi, they are hopeful that going away to Gold Stars, they'll be able to get the needed points. I mean, 2 seasons now, Gold Stars haven't been able to beat Kotoko in their home grounds in BBAD. So Kotoko have very good away record when you go to Gold Stars, drawn 1, won 1. And now they feel like they can repeat that thing when they go away to Gold Stars this weekend and get a job done. So, Musbao, essentially, a lot of Kotoko fans are banking on that good results away at Gold Stars and hoping that they can get the job done there.
Well, one game which some have described as the top liner is that game between Diana and Midiama. Now, of course, Midiama are current league champions, and it's fair to say they took it away from Diana Stars in the dying embers of the league. Big game coming up. I mean, what have you picked up ahead of that big game? Midiama themselves are in the Champions League. They will be in action next weekend in the Champions League. But Diana, at the moment, they are not in the best of shape. We seem to have lost Fifi Manfred, but we'll try and connect to him again over there. Well, so it's a big game between Diana Stars and Midiama. Midiama themselves, they were in action midweek. And against Accra Lions, they had to fight to secure a 2-2 draw against against Accra Lions. And for Diana Stars themselves, they haven't exactly had the best of starts. They've had some coaching issues. Pakwesi Feben, who was there, has moved on to Legon Cities. Fifi, thanks for returning. The network seemed to be giving you issues there, but I was talking about the game between Aduana and Medeama. Big game, isn't it?
Yeah, big game for Aduana because they lost their first game against, they lost their first game at the Century Park over the weekend in the first week of the Ghana Premier League. They would want to get the results back. For Aduana last season, they had a very good away form, and that's the reason why they were in the Ghana Premier League until the last week of the season. So they would want to restart. Yes, Medeama are the champions of the Ghana Premier League last season. They have started it well by making sure that they did beat New Boys in their first game. So it's something that they want to repeat. Medeama wants to make sure that they keep on the momentum, the wins against Royal in Africa, and then also the gains that they've gotten in the Ghana Premier League. They want to make it. They want to galvanize that and even push it forward to make it even better. But it's going to be a crunch game actually, because if you look at Aduana, their whole form is one of the best. But mind you, 3 seasons ago actually, in the first Aduana's first home game away at Doma, they lost 3-0 to King Faisal. So they have the tendency of losing some crucial home matches when they play in the openings of the league. They've already lost one game in the Ghana Premier League. Medeama are coming home. They know that it's a tough call for them. Medeama have an Africa to prepare for. So it's the balance of how they prepare for the Africa, whilst also keeping one eye on the Ghana Premier League. Whilst for Aduana, they will want to start at home in a good run. It's going to be a tough one, but then the team is set. They played very well last season. They kept the core of the side together. And I think that really is going to be an exciting fixture. I can't wait to enjoy that
one other exciting fixture is happening at the Accra Sports Stadium on Sunday. It's Maxwell Konadu against Martinus Koopman. Of course, there's some history as far as Maxwell Konadu is concerned with Accra Heart of Oak. Now, his side in Sonchaman played some beautiful football, got to their first win of the season. As far as the table standing is concerned at the moment, they are top of the table. It looks like Maxwell Konadu is going to really work something out for Sonchaman this season. And maybe the best test of that will be against Accra Heart of Oak, who, despite losing to Real Tamale United, played relatively well and will be hoping to, build on that and get a good result on Sunday at the Accra Sports Stadium. What are you perceiving? An upset at the Accra Sports Stadium?
Well, Coach Maxwell Konadu has said that, of course, he's coming to get all the 3 points that he needs to get at the Accra Sports Stadium. I've seen on Twitter and then on radio here in Kumasi, if you monitor the airways, that a lot of Kotoko fans telling Maxwell Konadu that, you're the son of the soil, your blood is red, you're a Kotoko fan, get the job done for us over the weekend. You need to make sure that you do the job over there. But it's not going to be easy. And Musbao, the reason is simple. If you look at Accra Hearts of Oak, I think that they've done some very good job in terms of player recruitment. In that game that they played at the Ali Mahama Stadium in Tamale, it was a difficult game for them. Yes, they had patches where they played very well, but you could tell that it's a new team that lacked cohesion. But then it's essentially about how old players like Limda and Thangi, Salifu Ibrahim, and the likes will make sure that they gel together with the new boys that have come in. Because there's a host of new players. But then talent-wise, there's an abundance of talent in the Heart of Oak team. And it looks as if they've done some good work from preseason. Don't let that result at Tamale lie to anybody that Heart of Oak are not in a good place. They have a very, very good squad put together. They just have to find that telepathy and cohesion, and then I think that they will come to the parties. And at Accra Sports Stadium, Maxwell Konadu did play there last season with Legon Cities. He left, now he's with Instruction Mind. He would want to do it for Kotoko, but I reckon that's going to be a difficult one for him, especially since Heart of Oak lost their first game at the Ali Mahama Stadium in Tamale.
Well, Fifi, thank you so much for making time with us tonight on Prime Sports. And of course, we look forward to the Ghana Premier League. You could make time and watch some of the fixtures across the weekend. But let's bring you some cycling now. And of course, the third edition of the Osagyefo Criterium came off yesterday at the Accra Sports Stadium. And it was Nigeria's Eze Ukwaserai who came top to retain her title, 2022 title, after winning that race, the women's category, at least by 2 laps. It was a dominant display by the Nigerian. Here is a report on that activity. In a thrilling race that featured professional cyclists from across West Africa, it was Nigeria's SA Upasarai who broke away from the female peloton with 2 laps to go to retain her 2022 trophy and 15,000 cedis cash prize ahead of the runners-up Mary Samuel and Treasure Coxon. SA, who has already secured her slot at next year's Paris Olympics, finished with a time of 2 hours, 15 minutes and 17 seconds in the 15 laps race across 77.7 kilometers. Mary Samuel, who placed second with a time of 2 hours, 3 minutes and 55 seconds, also went home with 5,000 cedis cash prize, with third place Treasure Coxon also getting 3,000 cedis. For the Delta State-based cyclist SA Upasarai, the Osajifo criterium was another opportunity to be in good shape for the Africa Games later next year, where she will be hoping to retain her time.
There's one thing about cycling when it comes to female. We don't always take things serious. But for me, it's what I do for a living. It put food on my table, so I always take it very serious. So whenever I go to race, I always think of winning because I need the money, like seriously. Next year, All African Game, I think I need to do more work because last time in the African Championship in Ghana, I won it. So this time around, all eyes on you, so you need to do extra work. So I think I need to work hard.
Meanwhile, in the men's category, it was a fascinating ending to the 129.5-kilometer race, which saw Joseph Zubil clinch the first position by only a difference of 1 second ahead of runners-up Abdul Malik Yusuf Al Hassan and Paddy Moore. Zubil, who is a member of a crowd-based Epic cycling team, completed a 25 laps race with a time of 3 hours, 19 minutes and 35 seconds. He was rewarded with a 15,000 cedis cash prize, a trophy and a medal. The first and second runners-up also received 7,000 cedis and 5,000 cedis cash prizes respectively, along with a trophy and a medal. But for Joseph Zubil, he is already looking beyond this competition.
With the dedication and then, the hard work, I made it. Oh yeah, it's going to push me very, very far, a little bit, because it's a huge distance. It's a huge race in Ghana, one of the huge races, so it's going to push me very far.
The Osajifo criterium, which was organized by the Gladiator Cycling Club with support from the Ghana Cycling Federation, saw the cyclists race through the principal street of Accra and past the stadium through the starlit 91 Street towards the National Theatre to the Castle Road. Founder and chairman of the Gladiator Cycling Club, Kojo Graham, said he was satisfied with the turnout of the event with promise of a better one next year.
I must say that it was a very heated race and definitely more competitive than last year. Once again, it reflects the increasing popularity of this event and the fact that it's becoming more popular and more people are willing to participate. So we look forward to next year, the 4th edition, where we're going to try to, as usual, improve on what we did next.
President of the Ghana Cycling Federation, Mohamed Shanoun, also believes the exercise was a good preparatory ground for Ghanaian cyclists ahead of the Africa Games in Accra.
As you can see, this is a very successful competition. We have our sisters and brothers from Nigeria joining, making it, an international event. And, they all give their best. And then we are working towards the African Games next year. You see more of these. So many events have happened, and this all to make our Ghanaian cyclists ready for the event.
The Osajifo criterium, which is held annually on 21st September, is in memory of Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and his vision of equality and African unity. This criterium is one of many initiatives of the Gladiator Cycling Club, including the formation of a pro team that has birthed national team cyclists, the Ghana by Bike Project, Divers Cycling Project, and the Lamisi Project. For Joy Sports, Razak Musbah.
Let's get to Germany now, and of course the German Bundesliga will return this weekend, of course, but just by way of information, German FA has appointed Julian Nagelsmann as the new manager of the side, so he's going to be taking over. He's going to be there till 2024. Now let's speak to Chris Harrington with DWTV for some preview of the fixtures coming up this weekend. Chris, which of the games really is standing out for you this weekend?
Well, in the standings, both teams are tied, basically level on everything with the exception of goal difference. That's what gives Bayer Leverkusen the slight advantage in the standings, so every point is that much more valuable. Bayern host Bochum, and Leverkusen host FC Heidenheim. I think Bayern are going to have the easier opponent because Heidenheim has just does something in their history that they've never done. They picked up their first victory in the Bundesliga. I think when you inject hope in certain teams, and they didn't beat a lightweight, they beat Werder Bremen. Okay, Werder Bremen's not one of the monsters or the bigger fish in the Bundesliga, but I don't consider them a walkover opponent. And FC Heidenheim has Denshi on their team. Aaron Denshi has been proving to be quite effective in front of goal and been scoring some nice goals. I know his maiden goal for Heidenheim was a spectacular goal, and he's coming off a brace. This could pose problems for Leverkusen. And then you have to factor in Champions League fatigue, Europa League fatigue. These things could be a factor. I think Bayern Munich just have such depth at every position. They might just be too much for Bochum, despite having just competed in the Champions League.
I mean, Chris, what about Dortmund, though? Because they will be in action this weekend. Of course, they lost to Paris Saint-Germain this weekend, in the course of the week. But do you fancy them this weekend also?
Well, you look at Dortmund hosting Wolfsburg. That one stands out to me because Dortmund are on 8 points, the Wolves on 9 points. And I mentioned the fatigue in terms of the European competition. Dortmund coming off the PSG match. The Wolves, have less to worry about, of course. They only have Dortmund to be focused on, and they're coming off a victory. They defeated Union Berlin. I think that is a bit of momentum. And then...
Well, yeah, Chris Harrington. Well, that's our time. We'll permit us on Prime Sports tonight with me, Razak Musbah. Thank you for being a part of that.